glad that you are joining me again today for another lesson. We are still in the sacred stories, which are stories all about the people of God. And today we are back in the desert box. But before we jump into our lesson on the exile and the return, I wanted to take a moment to get ready together. So I think today to get ready, we're going to take a couple great big deep breaths again. Hopefully you remember that from last time, but it'll be a little different this time because sometimes deep breathing can also be a little bit like prayer. So we're going to do some deep breathing prayers today. So you want to sit nice and tall and take a couple big deep breaths with me. Ready? In the name of the Father, in the name of the Son, in the name of the Holy Spirit. Let's get into our lesson. This is the desert, or piece of the desert. And we need a piece of the desert because so many important things happen to the people of God in the desert. But the desert is a dangerous place. The sun is so hot during the day that the people need many layers of clothing to protect their skin from burning. And is so cold at night that the people need many layers of clothing then too. There's hardly any food or water, and almost nothing grows. And when the wind blows, the shape of the desert changes, so it can be easy to lose your way. The desert is a dangerous place. People don't go into the desert unless they really need to. Here is Jerusalem, and here is the temple. And here are the people of God. Now the people of God knew that God was with them in the temple. But they had come to believe that the temple was the only place that they could pray to God. They had also come to believe that the walls of the city could protect them from anything. But then came the Assyrians, and they attacked the city, and the people fought. It was a terrible time. Some people even died. But eventually, the Assyrians went away. Then came the Babylonians, and the Babylonians did not go away. The king wanted the city of Jerusalem for himself, so they broke down the walls, and they burned the temple. And many people were taken out of the city. Really, only a few people remained. And as the soldiers marched the people of God away, they looked back on their burning city of Jerusalem and wondered if they would ever see it again. As they went through the desert, the people had to do whatever the soldiers told them to. They had to eat when the soldiers said to eat. They had to go to bed when the soldiers said to go to bed. They had to wake up when the soldiers said to wake up. They were growing very weary, and the journey was very hard. The people could no longer go home. They were in exile, and they hung their harps on the weeping willow trees and sang sad songs. The people dreamed of Jerusalem and the temple, and when they said their prayer, they faced the city. But over time, the people of God began to realize that God was with them in this place too. His Spirit came to be with them when they sang their songs, or told their stories, or prayed their prayers. And the king of Babylon allowed the people to work, at least some of the people, and they created shops and pretty much went on living as normally. So it was a shock when the king of Persia came to Babylon and took it over for himself. This new king allowed some of the people to go back home. So some of the people went with Ezra, and they rebuilt the temple. And others went with Nehemiah, and they began rebuilding the walls. They were no longer in exile because they could return home. But do you know what happened? Not everyone returned back home, because the people of God realized that God was with them in this strange and foreign land too. Now I wonder, what part of this story you liked the best? I wonder if you are in any part of this story, or if any part of this story is especially for you. I wonder if we could get rid of any part of this story and still have all the story that we need. Well, that is all for our lesson today, but I'm so glad that you joined me to hear about the exile and return of the people of God. We have some response materials for you, some coloring pages, and a little desert scene that you could create yourself. They'll be in those handout bags. And I will see you guys next time.